Alright everyone, how's it going? Sam here with another video, and today we're going to be doing a video on what I think is probably the hardest challenge in this game, and that's going to be the sub 8-minute run. That's going to unlock some extra rune power for you, so it's really important. And I've seen a lot of posts on kind of just how would I do this, best guess and stuff like that, so I just want to go over exactly what it is that I do to complete this achievement pretty regularly. I would say it's a significantly lower luck rate versus just if you do this, you are 99% sure you're going to get it. It's going to be really close to 8 minutes, but definitely going to hit like 7:55 or something like that. So let's just go into it. Obviously, I have the skill tree all the way done. I'm assuming that you guys are kind of almost done with the game in regards to playing through the maps. So like you've done Curse 6 probably at least. Runes. If we go in singular focus, this is the rune that you get when you complete all of the maps on Curse 6. I think I'm going to do another one without this because I did complete this without this rune, but this rune makes it significantly easier. Basically, this rune just makes it to where you can pick up multiple of the same weapon skill. So it's really fun. I enjoy it a lot. Gonna pick up Weapon Expert. This is actually really important. You want to make sure that you get that second weapon skill for the character you're playing. And then I'm going to do Skill Mastery Shadow as well as Skill Affinity Shadow because we want to go for summons. Basically, summons are going to be a huge key here in my opinion. And in regards to character, we're going to be wanting to go the Beastmaster. The reason being that Cobra Totem that you get when you go this Weapon Expert rune, that is huge in regards to finishing this as fast as possible. Now, in regards to the map, I like doing it on the Caves of Dhal. You could do it on any map, honestly. There is no preference. I just personally like this one. And then we're going to get into the curses. So the curses, we're going to kind of spread them out a little bit. So we want Reckless Goblins on every single one. This is just going to spawn those explosive goblins earlier. More mobs, the better, basically. Unholy Reinforcements is elite enemies. So we want to increase the elite enemies that spawn also. So we'll do that on every single curse tier that you see it, and then Clone Army, so that's going to increase the number of elites that spawn. It does increase their damage and their health and everything like that, but we're not really worried about that. We just want the extra XP and the extra mob spawn. And you're going to do that all the way across up to the last one in Curse 7. If you don't have that, it's not the biggest deal in the world, but it does help in my opinion, because leveling up is really important. At the end of it, you're going to want to have Curse 17 for your intensity, and then we're just going to get right into it. So for this, you're going to immediately want to run to one of the corners. I like doing it in the bottom left. I don't know why. That's just where I like to do this. And you're going to want to stand around in this area. You don't want to be too close to the wall, but you don't want to be too far out, because the whole point is to get mobs to spawn in this kind of like 90-degree angle right here. It keeps the spawn significantly closer to you. One of the things that I did notice is that, in my opinion, if you're killing things off screen, the game is not good at counting those kills. I'm not saying that I've been staring at, the upper right corner this whole time and like, oh, I got a gem, so that means I got a kill and it doesn't go up. But as you get later in the game, you'll notice you're killing like 10, 15, 20 things at a time, and you just are not getting anywhere near that amount of mobs killed. So killing them on the screen is a surefire way to make sure that this gets counted towards you. I would say you'll see significantly higher numbers of mobs going towards your kill count if you do this method versus if you were to just stand in the middle. In regards to skills, so obviously Cobra Totem is really important. I also like looking for summons. Summons are super huge here because they are going to help you clear out mobs significantly faster. And then you just want to make sure that you pick up Area of Effect. I think Area of Effect is really big here. I'm going to be looking for Blade Storm. If I don't get it, it's not that important. But Area of Effect is huge in regards to killing mobs as fast as possible. You just want to be hitting the screen basically. So as long as you're able to hit as many mobs as possible, you're good to go. And then don't worry about defensive stats. I mean, you're playing on a low curse intensity. Things aren't really doing that much damage in regards to the amount of damage you are doing, especially with all the skills that you have. And then Doom. Doom is huge. You want to make sure you pick up Doom. And if you have Curse because you're playing one of those characters that has Curse, I highly recommend Curse. So I'll go ahead and we'll show you all of the timestamps for basically when you want to hopefully be killing and spawning those bosses. As you can see, the elites, there's a lot of them, but it doesn't really stop, one, the small mobs from spawning, and two, it's going to help us level up a lot faster, which is the main reason why I want to have all those elites on, because elites are just extremely large amounts of experience in comparison. And it doesn't really do anything detrimental. I mean, you're just going to be running in a circle anyways. So for the most part, this isn't changing how you're playing the game anyways. Just make sure you can't stand still, basically. That's the one negative, is you can't stay still. Alright guys, so this is what I would say is like as close as I can get a perfect setup. You want to be spawning this first boss around like 2:30 if you can. Honestly, the first one is the worst one. It is definitely the hardest one to spawn in my opinion. So if it takes you a little bit longer than you think it should be, don't worry about it. You really, as long as you're sub 3 minutes, you are good to go. But again, this is pretty much my like perfect setup. You want to have like 4 summons. You want to have Bestial Wrath because that'll increase their attack speed, their movement speed, all that good stuff. And then you want to have Blade Storm because Blade Storm is going to be huge. And Cobra Totem, I would say, is one that you want to keep the whole time since it's ranged. And basically, you just want to make sure you're standing in this corner because this will keep your summons over here. If you have your summons away from you, you know, you're going to run into that situation where maybe your kills aren't counting towards exactly what you are going for, basically. So I highly recommend you try and stick in this corner because every time you summon more summons, there's obviously a limit on how many you can have out. So the new ones that you spawn are going to spawn next to you versus the ones that are kind of out doing whatever they want to. So by staying in this corner over here, you're keeping all your summons here. This is going to keep mobs spawning over here, and it's going to increase the rate that you basically are able to get that kill count up as fast as possible. Also, summons are really good at killing the elites, I gotta say. That's one of the really nice things is that War Tiger especially and Battle Moose, they are pretty fantastic at getting rid of elites and bosses. So the other nice thing about sitting in this corner is that it prioritizes the boss to spawn down here in this tiny little corner. And with all of your summons here, it is going to be very simple to just immediately obliterate it. So as you saw, that was almost under a minute in regards to the first and second boss spawn, around like 3:45. That's awesome. And the nice thing is that when the bosses spawn in this corner, it'll spawn that Soulstone, and this is allowing you to get all of that XP that is around you without having to move out of this tiny little corner that we call home. And honestly, if you have the death protections, don't worry too much about damage you're taking. If you can't avoid an AoE, prioritize standing in this corner. That is much more important than living, basically. And with the 2 death protections, especially when you're playing on such a low curse, you're going to be healing for about 40 to 45 per health crystal that you are able to destroy. So that is a ton in comparison to the high curse levels, right? So you can take a lot of damage because you're not really going to be taking that much even from the unique mobs, so don't worry about it. Alright, we're going to get another spawn here, and again, it's just going to be in about a minute, which is perfect. And then we'll just run over to where the boss is, try and stand directly on top of it so we get all our summons to spawn on it. And you walk through that Soulstone to get all the EXP, and then you just walk right back down to the corner. And again, we're going to be prioritizing area of effect, any summon buffs, as well as... I like Doom. I just think Doom is really great, especially when you're killing these low HP mobs. Doom's going to make it to where you kind of execute them a little bit earlier because of Doom special effect. Same thing with Curse, whereas if you have enough stacks of it on an enemy and they have less HP than they would damage they would take from Doom, it just immediately executes it. So just makes it a little bit faster. The only AoEs I would suggest trying to dodge is any of the ones that are going to make you knock away, basically. So the worst elites are definitely the big guys. They smack you across the map sometimes. So if you can avoid getting hit by that, you are in a great spot. Alright, another sub-minute spawn. We're doing great so far. Again, just immediately try and stack on top of the boss so that all of your summons get on it. In a perfect world, you're going to be about to summon the boss right when your summons are going to come up, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. But by standing in this corner, you'll have the majority of the summons on you, and this is going to make it easier for you to just walk right over to the boss and have all your summons with you. So we're doing really well though. 6 minutes for all 4 bosses, and we just have this last one. This last one, there's a large amount of mobs that you're going to have to kill. It's about the same as the first go through, but for the most part, as long as you stick to the technique, you should be good to go. Alright, so the last boss is going to spawn here. And then we just want to get right on top of him as fast as we possibly can. It's going to have a little bit more HP than a lot of the other mobs, but we should be good. We actually had a lot of time there. And there you go. So this is 7:37, which is actually a pretty decent time. Generally, you're going to end up around like 7:50, so don't be too stressed if you are getting really close to the 8 minutes. It's going to happen almost every single time that you do this. But let's just go over a very brief overview if you don't want to watch all of that. So basically, you're going to go Beastmaster. You're going to go the Rune Weapon Expert so that you're able to start with Cobra Totem. Cobra Totem is very, very important. I think it is the best summon for this because it's ranged. So it just does a ton of damage from a distance, and you can stand in that corner. Other than that, you want to go 4 other summons. I would definitely recommend Battle Tiger, War Tiger, sorry. So it does a ton of single target damage, so if you can get that on top of the boss, it's going to be really easy for you to burst those boss down really, really fast. Bladestorm, I think, is a very important pickup because if you're standing over here, stacking area of effect, you're going to be able to hit your whole screen, basically. And that's the really important thing about this, is killing the mobs on the screen. Because if they're on the screen, in my opinion, the game does a much better job counting those mobs that you kill, whereas with mobs off screen, I don't think it really counts all of them personally, and that's why this challenge is significantly harder. But just make sure they're on screen. That's why you're standing in this corner. Don't move any farther than about like right here. Just stay in this like 180-degree arc. This little torch right here, you know, good indicator. Just like a little bit past this, because once you go past this, you're going to reduce the amount of spawns that spawn in this 90-degree angle right here. Other than that, Bestial Wrath is huge. It's going to increase the movement speed and multicast for all of these guys, and that's huge because you want to be constantly summoning your mobs in this corner. That's going to keep them on top of these mobs. It's also going to make it easier when you run out to a boss. The mobs are going to follow you, and it's going to be really easy to just dash back into this corner. You want to try to aim for about 240 for the first boss, and then every boss after that, you need to be around sub 1 minute for the spawns, which we kept to pretty much, except for the last one. The first and the last boss have the most amount of mobs that you need to kill before they spawn. So as long as you're sub 1 minute for the second, third, and fourth one, you should be good to go. That's about it, everyone. If this helped you, let me know down below. If you guys have any suggestions for things that you guys are struggling with, definitely let me know. I enjoy making videos like this. And as always, I hope to see you on the next one.